Beeswarm Simulator is an old game. That's just a fact. The game has been kicking it for 6 years, going on for 7. And as the years start to go on, a wave of nostalgia tends to hit the older players who joined the game in year 1 or year 2. Similar to how your dad tells you about how much better basketball in the 90s was, these older players are saying that the old era of Beeswarm is clearly better than the game that we know today. But why? Why do people say this? The game has clearly advanced a ton. Well, that's what I'm wanting to make this video for, to determine why these things are said and if these guys are actually right. But before we begin, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Nobody. Made you think. When it comes to this debate, one of the most popular reasons I see as to why old Beeswarm reigns supreme, the top reason by far is the update frequency. How many updates do you think there were in 2018? 3? 5? 7? 13. There were 13 updates. These updates were fundamental in making the game what it is today, adding many core mechanics to the game, such as but not exclusive to hive expansions, gifted bees, bond, fan favorite bees like music bee and vicious bee. Even the first ever beetles was added in 2018. In 2019, the updates started to slow down. There were 6 updates in total, but all of these updates were high quality and came out give or take every 3 months. Things like microconverters, 35B zone, mythic bees, mutations. The content being added was all fun to play with, and truth be told, there is no time that is better to play Beeswarm than when there is new content, and new content was popping up constantly during these times. But even though the updates were a huge reason as to why old Beeswarm was fun, I think there's another less talked about reason that made this game special. And that reason is macroing simply was not commonplace. In fact, a lot of the community thought it was cheating. Shown in this video by McProsif, we can see a very early version of macroing, and the comments did not like that people were doing this, and most of the community agreed that it was bad. But little did the majority of people know that a lot of the top players were doing this. In fact, the dude who made the video actually used macros himself. But Onnit didn't do anything to stop the people from doing this. And by not telling people something is banned, it becomes free game. And over time, macroing went from many considered cheating to now the new norm, and thus begun the modern Beeswarm era. Before macroing, progress was considerably slower. Players often had to spend entire weeks to get the item they wanted, but with macroing, the game was made much easier as you could accomplish more grinding in less time. Another result of players macroing was also the influx of endgame players. Due to the faster progression, getting to the endgame stage is much easier. But for the Beeswarm players who reached the promised land, some came to their own conclusion that maybe the promised land didn't come as promised. It turns out the reason it's called the end game is because it is the end of the game. What a lot of players enjoy about Beeswarm is doing new quests and the thrill of getting new items. But towards the end game, the items are way harder to get and all the quest lines are well loaded by this point. It didn't help that during the rise of endgame players, the updates for the game became less and less frequent. 2021 and 2022 only saw the now annual Beesmas update, and 2023 didn't even get that. The game is seemingly in a worse state than the consistently updated macro-free version of the game from years past. So why is the community saying that modern Beeswarm is better than old Beeswarm? Back in the older days of Beeswarm, once you got to endgame, the game became more of just go into the field and grind and repeat this over and over and over and over and over again. But nowadays, as the game has become more updated over the years, and as a product of that, more polished and much more finished, once you reach endgame, there's simply more to do. Nowadays, you can try and get all the stickers, max your digital bee, become an attack hive, and if you want to grind honey, now there's a lot more things you can do to optimize your production. Also, as we're recording this video, the game has drastically improved its update rate. This year alone, there has been the same amount of updates as there was in 2020, what made it considered to be the last good year for Beeswarm. Similar to basketball nowadays, the game has become a lot more advanced, and the stiffness of past years has now loosened. The game we have today may not be appreciated by some of the older players, and it does have its blemishes and is far from perfect, but truth be told, Onnit has done a really good job keeping the game interesting for many people, even if macroing did help out quite a bit. So instead of remembering what was, appreciate what is. Thanks for watching.